Every year, NFL teams aim to recruit the country's top talent who come with impressive contracts and high expectations. However, for every Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, there's a player who fails to meet the hype. In this video, we'll explore the most notable stories behind the NFL's biggest draft busts and analyze the factors that contributed to their decline. Trent Richardson is often cited as one of the most shocking busts in NFL draft history. In 2012, the Cleveland Browns had high expectations when they selected him as the third overall pick in the NFL draft. Richardson had just completed an impressive college career at Alabama. His impressive stats indicated he was the kind of powerful, game-changing running back who could help turn around a struggling team. Initially, things seemed promising, as Richardson amassed 950 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns in his rookie season. However, unexpectedly, his performance began to decline. Richardson struggled throughout games to read defenses and find openings. Critics started questioning his vision and ability, as he often appeared a step behind the play. The Browns, losing faith quickly, traded him to the Colts in hopes that he would revitalize his career. Unfortunately, his stellar performance never returned. After a disappointing tenure with Indianapolis, Richardson bounced around to a few more teams before fading out of the league entirely. All this transpired within just 4 seasons. His rapid decline and early departure from the NFL solidified his status as one of the league's most surprising busts. The Cleveland Browns got it wrong again in 2014. With the selection of Johnny Manziel as the 22nd overall pick, there was great hope of a spark in the franchise, maybe even a little magic for Johnny football. As a college player at Texas A&M, Manziel's career was electric. He played with flair, made daring plays, and had a dynamic style with which fans fell in love. But while he was one of the most hyped draft picks for the year, things did not exactly pan out for him once he hit the NFL. Manziel was partying almost as much as he was out on the practice field, and nobody knew if he even cared about the game. He could never keep up on the field with the pace and complexity needed in the NFL. Defenses were quicker, stronger, and not as lenient. That style didn't translate in games, though. By the end of his second season, the Browns realized they'd had enough and released him. One of his former coaches discussed the issue. When he had LeBron James as a mentor, texting him all the time, hanging out at his house watching football, and Johnny didn't listen to his advice, that's when I knew he had a problem. For every young quarterback who comes in with a lot of hype, like David Carr with the Texans back in 2002, there's a reminder that pure talent and charisma aren't consistently enough. It wasn't just Cleveland that made some of the most egregious NFL draft mistakes. The Jacksonville Jaguars did a marvelous job themselves. The Jaguars selected Justin Blackmon as the 5th overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, and fans thought they were getting the next Calvin Johnson. Blackmon had everything you could ask for: size, speed, hands, and an instinct for making big plays. In the beginning, Blackmon occasionally showcased his potential, offering glimpses of the explosive playmaker scouts had praised. However, his performance off the field was less impressive. He faced multiple suspensions for violating the league's substance abuse policy, which overshadowed his contributions on the field. Ultimately, his struggles with drugs became insurmountable, leading to the premature end of his career after just 2 seasons in the league. Justin's coach, Johnny Bell, said about him, "If he had been dedicated to track, there's no telling what he could have done." Blackmon's story is a sad example of unrealized potential, similar to players like Lawrence Phillips, the troubled but talented running back the Rams took in 1996. Both were top draft picks with incredible talent, but their off-field issues derailed what could have been brilliant careers. Blackmon's story is often told using the "what could have been" narrative. Vernon Gholston's story is a tragic one. The New York Jets selected him in the 2008 draft, believing they had finally found their game changer. There's no denying that Gholston was an athletic standout at Ohio State. The Jets were confident that his skills would allow him to dominate NFL offensive lines. However, the reality was far from what the Jets had envisioned. Gholston struggled right from the start, and incredibly did not record a single sack during his 3 years with the team. He was unable to develop the instincts or techniques needed to outmaneuver NFL blockers consistently. Eventually, the Jets released him, marking his career as one of their most infamous draft mistakes. Fans were left astonished by how a player with such a successful collegiate career could be so ineffective in the professional arena. Today, Gholston's legacy serves as a reminder that athleticism alone does not ensure success in the NFL. He possessed the physique, speed, and power, but without the right instincts and skills, he could not make it work. When discussing the biggest draft busts in NFL history, Tim Couch is often mentioned. The Cleveland Browns made a significant mistake in 1999 when they selected him first overall. Given their status as an expansion team returning to the league, the expectations for Couch were extremely high. They needed a strong leader. Couch came into the league fresh off an impressive college career at Kentucky, and he was viewed as the quarterback who could lead the Browns to success. His big arm, accuracy, and poise under pressure made him the top choice in a draft that featured promising talent. Unfortunately, Couch's NFL career did not go as expected. His rookie season was challenging, and things didn't improve in the following years. He faced a shaky offensive line, limited playmakers, and a team that struggled to protect him, all of which exacerbated his difficulties. Additionally, Couch endured numerous injuries, highlighting the Browns' failure to create a stable environment around him. While he did show glimpses of potential and determination, Couch could never achieve consistent success with the team. After 5 seasons in Cleveland, he ended his tenure with a disappointing 22-for-37 record as a starter before being released. Although he possessed the skill to be a capable quarterback, the lack of support and continuous setbacks hindered him from reaching his potential. His story remains one of the most notable busts in NFL history as a #1 overall pick. The Detroit Lions were impressed by Charles Rodgers' portfolio and selected him with the 2nd overall pick in the 2003 NFL Draft. A standout from Michigan State, Rodgers was known for his incredible speed and ability to make big plays, and he was expected to be a game-changer for the Lions' offense. Unfortunately, Rodgers' career took a turn for the worse almost immediately. In his rookie season, he broke his collarbone, which sidelined him for the entire year. Then, just 5 games into his 2nd season, he re-injured the same collarbone. These repeated injuries made it nearly impossible for Rodgers to gain any momentum, and the early setbacks took a toll on both his mental and physical game. To make matters worse, Rodgers faced off-field challenges, including issues with substance abuse. Despite efforts to make a comeback, he struggled to overcome the combination of injuries and personal problems. After 3 seasons, the Lions released him, effectively ending his NFL career. Rodgers had the talent and potential to become a top receiver, but injuries and off-field challenges ultimately proved too difficult to overcome. His story is often remembered as one of the NFL's most tragic busts. In 1999, the Cincinnati Bengals made one of the most notable draft mistakes in NFL history by selecting Akili Smith, a quarterback known for his strong arm and exceptional athleticism, as the 3rd overall pick. The team hoped Smith would lead them back to glory and bring stability to the quarterback position. However, what followed was a rapid decline from high expectations to disappointing reality. From the beginning, Smith struggled to read defenses and make quick decisions under pressure. Coaches attempted to help him overcome these challenges, but despite their efforts, his performance never met the team's needs. Over his 4 seasons with the Bengals, he was benched multiple times and started only 17 games. By the end of his tenure in Cincinnati, Smith had completed just 46% of his passes, thrown 5 touchdowns compared to 13 interceptions, and recorded a quarterback rating of 52.8. The Bengals eventually released him after 4 seasons, and he quickly disappeared from the league. Smith's experience illustrates a case of raw talent that failed to translate into NFL success. His difficulties in adapting to professional-level defenses and his inconsistent preparation have solidified his status as one of the league's most significant draft busts. The Green Bay Packers experienced a similar situation when they drafted Tony Manziel with the 2nd overall pick in 1989. They believed they were getting a generational offensive tackle, as he was hailed as a can't-miss prospect out of Michigan State. Manziel possessed the size, speed, and raw power that made him stand out as one of the most physically impressive players in college football. Many anticipated he would be a dominant force in the NFL for years to come. However, Manzielic's professional career was far from dominant. His weaknesses became apparent as soon as he faced NFL competition. He struggled to match the quickness and strength of professional defenders and was often overpowered, which shocked both fans and coaches. After 3 disappointing seasons, the Packers decided to cut their losses and released him in 1992. Manzielic's fall from grace was compounded when he later admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs while in college. His remarkable success in college appeared to have been aided by substances that were not allowed in the NFL. He's often remembered for failing to live up to expectations in a draft class that included legends like Barry Sanders and Deion Sanders. The fact that the Packers could have selected one of those players only adds to his legacy as a draft bust. Mandarich's story resonates in modern drafts, similar to that of Robert Griffin III, who showed immense early promise but faced challenges beyond mere talent. Ryan Leaf's NFL journey is one of the most infamous stories in draft history. Selected second overall in 1998, just after Peyton Manning, Leaf entered the league with high expectations. Many believed the San Diego Chargers had finally found their franchise quarterback, but things fell apart quickly. Leaf struggled to adapt to the NFL's speed and complexity, and his decision-making under pressure became a persistent issue. He clashed with coaches, teammates, and the media off the field. Tensions ran high, and his on-field performance suffered. After 4 tumultuous seasons, the Chargers released him, marking the end of his NFL career. A lack of discipline, maturity, and leadership are some of the factors that contributed to Leaf's struggles. While players like Peyton Manning went on to become legends, Leaf became the embodiment of a draft bust. JaMarcus Russell was the Oakland Raiders' first overall pick in 2007 and initially appeared to be a potential franchise quarterback, boasting a powerful arm and a towering height of 6'6". However, his career quickly took a downturn. Right from the start, concerns arose about his work ethic and commitment. He missed meetings, performed poorly during practice, and struggled with his weight. On the field, he struggled to find his rhythm, throwing only 18 touchdowns compared to 23 interceptions over 3 seasons, while completing roughly half of his passes. Ultimately, the Raiders decided to release him in 2010, effectively abandoning what once seemed like a promising investment. Russell's story has become a cautionary tale in the NFL draft, highlighting the risks of investing in a player based on their potential rather than their actual performance. These draft busts serve as a reminder that not everything that appears promising will necessarily come to fruition. The stories of players like Johnny Manziel and Akili Smith took unexpected turns, leaving their fans shocked. Every year, NFL teams aim to recruit the country's top talent who come with impressive contracts and high expectations. However,